In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
Welcome to the Scarlet Supporters Pembrokeshire podcast.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Wester is Bester from the Scarlet Supporters Pembrokeshire with me, Lee G, and joining me as always is Big M. How are we, Martin?
I'm good. I'm just happy not to be on my own this week.
Yeah, I thought you were good last week, mate. I did. I had a listen. I thought you were good. I thought it was informative and it was enjoyable. And yeah, don't put yourself down.
You're struggling. You're really struggling with it.
No,
you're just
I
thinking of
wasn't.
any words you can say.
I want to be nice to you without blowing smoke up your ass, is what it is, mate. But
that's sweet.
What we do need to do is we said this a couple of weeks ago about getting a couple of extra people on for next year to kind of change things up and have someone that can do the junior section, the academy, the under 18s and the under 16s and things like that, and someone from Carmarthenshire, someone from Pembrokeshire and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it would be good to get a few extra people involved, just so we don't have to stare at each other's faces every week, mate, to be honest.
Oh, what's the problem with that? Are you trying to say something there?
I'm jealous of the hair I am.
It's lovely hair.
All right, let's
It'll incrementally get softer, so don't worry.
Let's start with a bit of Scarlet's news from the week. So obviously transfer news is key at the minute, is taking up all of our time. So what have we got transfer news wise this week, mate?
Well, we've had the re-signing of Ryan Elias, which, there was a lot of concern earlier in the season. Is he going to be going to France? So I know there were quite a few what do you call it? There was quite a few offers going around for him, and he is a top end player, and we know with Ken's age he's not getting younger, and we don't know his future either. So retaining one of them, is good in the short term.
But would you have been that disappointed if he'd have gone? I wouldn't. I'll be honest. If he'd have gone, I would have gone, okay, we'll cope. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player to have, and he does the job well. But we do have other players who are very similar, and we have players like Sean Evans who offer something different as a hooker. I think where Dan Davis has been missing the last few weeks, Sean Evans' skills at the breakdown have been massive. They have really, really helped, and it's just so noticeable what he does. I know what a lot of forwards do in some players. You don't really see it unless you're looking for it. But he is one of those players that he just does so much. And we've also got the younger boys as well. We've just had two hookers in the Wales under-20s, Lewis Morgan and Isaac Young. And, with having now four senior hookers, those boys are not going to get even an outside chance of making one or two bench appearances next season. So development-wise, maybe not the greatest, but at the same time, you want your frontline players to be that top level.
Yeah, but then we don't know what is going to happen with some of those other players, I suppose, and that is the bit where you've got to put some trust in what's happening behind the scenes, I guess. But certainly for me, I think the his line out throw in has just not been dodgy, but it's not been as reliable as I would expect a player at that level to be. And for me, if he'd have gone, I wouldn't have been gutted. Whereas Dane Blacker, I'm the other way around. I'd have fought tooth and nail to keep Dane Blacker, and if Hardy had gone, I wouldn't have been. I know Hardy's contract isn't up this year, but if Hardy had gone, I wouldn't have been that bothered. Certainly not as bothered as I am about Dane Blacker going.
Yeah, I'm devastated about Blacker. Not just the fact that he's a Rhondda Pontypridd boy like I am, but the fact that he has been our number one scrum half over the last 3 years. He really has. He's been lightning on form. I'm really surprised he only used to be called into the Wales setup. Unlucky not to get capped, but he really is on fire. I know he's had a bit of a slump, last couple of months, and it's probably over this contract situation. As far as I know, he was offered something. But when a team wants you to be first choice compared to a team saying, "Look, you're going to be fighting for a match day 23 spot," the money on offer is going to be a little bit different. So I obviously blame the guy, and you got to add into that as well. If he's fond of football and if he's living down there and travelling up every day, then it probably makes a little bit more sense to go somewhere Dragons because it's a shorter commute. But, these are all hypotheticals, and I am really gutted that we've lost Blacker.
And I think the key bit for him would have been that, if he stays at the Scarlets, he's got Gareth Davis, he's got Kieran Hardy, he's got 2 under-20s, Harry Williams and Archie Hughes coming up behind him as well. It's a packed section of the club. Whereas if he goes to the Dragons, the chances of him being in the shop window, if you like, the chances of him being number one at the Dragons are actually quite high. It's him and Rodri Williams, and that's it.
Yeah, because I don't know how long Bertrand was going to be staying there. And I don't know what the story is with Rodri Williams. I don't know what his contract situation is. Because he's never been bothered about playing outside because he went to Bristol for a while, and he is another top quality scrum half out of us. We do tend to send them around and or develop them when they get here. Dame Blacker, Tavis, Noel, 2 massive examples of that. But he's most likely going to be starting definitely in our match 23 every week with the Dragons, no doubt about that. And I just hope it doesn't come back to bite us. The only good thing about losing one of our 3 scrum halves is the fact that now Archie Hughes and Harry Williams are going to be pushed more to the forefront. I can see Archie Hughes getting more of the game time because he is more of the all-rounder at the minute. But Harry Williams, his speed of service is unreal for his age, and if he develops, the other side being a scrum half, as well as his passing, then he is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah. So, it's I haven't heard any other rumours coming out. Well, there's always rumours about people going to Cardiff because Cardiff seem to be losing people like a sieve with water at the minute. And anytime someone leaves Cardiff, it seems someone from Scarlets is the automatic replacement. I saw Dan Jones being mentioned a couple of times the other day as going to replace outside half vacancy up there, which for me would be a weird selection. I wouldn't be surprised to see Patch go back. But Dan Jones would be a weird one for me if he does go to Cardiff. I can't see it happening myself, but it's just one of those. Twitter at the minute is full of rumours of so and so did this, so and so, and I think if anybody gets seen in a cafe in Cardiff having a cup of coffee, that turns into a transfer rumour by the end of the day, sort of a thing. So who knows?
Yeah, I think Dinky Dan Jones is a very underrated player. He doesn't have the top end pace, but what he offers in terms of his distribution and his kicking game, they are really up there. He is a very strong regional player and a pretty good European standard player too. So as a backup, he is absolutely brilliant. But as a starting fly half, it's a little bit different. Like I know with Sam Davis supposedly leaving the Dragons, they might be in the market as well. So who really knows? I know they've got Will Reed down there, but again, he's still a youngster. He's pretty much in the same boat as Costello was when he first moved here a couple of years ago.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Anyway, let's talk about some rugby. Let's talk about the game on Friday night. So, first off, what did you make of the weather?
I like the weather. I like a bit of rain. It's always good to see it. It just absolutely tumbling down. I wish we would have thrown the ball about a little bit more, because no one did in our game whatsoever.
No, and I think
you can't do everything in rain, but you can try.
And I think it was difficult for both sides, because European semi-final. There's nothing really left in the season now for Scarlets. We can't win the Welsh Shield. I think if we do, I think we needed to beat Glasgow with a bonus point to realistically be in with any kind of a shot. And so that was going to be a difficult task at the best of times. So yeah, and I think there were 10, 11 changes in that side from the previous week. So, it was obviously, we didn't go full strength, but there was enough there to compete with the top four side, because that's where they are. And I think the gutting bit for me is that if we'd have been playing this way at the start of the season, who knows where we would have been. We're competing now with the top four sides, the top 5 or 6 sides, definitely. We're competing and beating most of them. It's a shame we didn't do that at the start of the season. It would have been a very different year, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the way I look at it right now, if you look at the league, we are categorised in the same area as the Dragons. Yeah. They shipped 70-odd points against Glasgow.
Yeah.
And that weren't even that long ago. So it's a massive difference. And I know, like you said, we made 11 changes. I know 10. So this was never going to be a preview of the semi-final just because of the changes in the squad. I mean, I think we have both learned some things about each other. And I think we've learned more about them, especially with their line-out drive. I think we've learned a lot there, and how they like to play, because, when the commentator said, they've only taken one penalty kick at goal in 2023 so far. And that was in the quarterfinal against the Lions. So that's in a knockout match. So I think we know what sort of style and what sort of game they're going to be bringing to us. So it's going to be simple as just keep your discipline and don't let them get any line outs in our own 22. That's got to be the main driver when it comes to that game. But no, it was good to see so many changes, just because we haven't seen a lot of these players, and a first proper look at people like you and Shenton. It does us as fans a good job in finding out are these players going to be, were they just signed as development? Are they going to be capable? Same as James finally gets that. It was really good to see some of these boys out there. And I know he's already had a run of games this season already, but Tuapolotu back in there. I know these boys put in some good performances. Same as Morgan Jones again. We haven't seen that since the red cards early in the season.
And I thought it was quite good. I thought Shenton played quite well. I thought Tuapolotu had a couple of decent runs. They didn't look out of place. I don't think we had the cutting edge in attack that we've had in the last couple of games. I don't think we really tried much. I don't think there was much experiment in there. I think it was all kind of one pass kind of stuff. There was nothing, we weren't finding the edges. So, and we never really looked like scoring a try other than the Fafita turnover. So, I think maybe we were just kind of keeping the powder dry.
Yeah, well, I also think, since we've come back from the Six Nations, don't think our attack has really been as great as it has been. I know we were, magnificent in that, but it seems as though that our main focus, on these last 4 games has really been defence, and rightly so when you play in, teams like Sharks, Clermont, Glasgow. You've really got to up your defence just to be in with a chance. I know even it was only the last try that we actually developed ourselves. There was an intercept and 2 kick chases. There wasn't nothing. It wasn't like a strike play or a breakdown of a set of phases. So that is something that I'm expecting to see this weekend now, just to get us all fit and firing for the semi-final. But no, we haven't really fired many shots at anyone over the last few weeks.
No, and I think the bit for me has been, I think we missed Dan Davis massively in attack, and I think he turns over. I think the way he turns over the ball at a ruck sets us up for a good attack, and I just think he does a lot of stuff off the ball that kind of creates space. I think the combination of him and McLeod is absolutely superb. I think McLeod is probably the best 7 in Wales right now, and I know people in Australia and Cardiff and all of that just hate McLeod, but he's absolutely on fire. The amount of ball that he stops, the amount of turnovers is just phenomenal. And if he can stay fit, there's no reason why he shouldn't be in the Wales setup for the World Cup. I'd say him and Thomas Young should be our first 2 sevens for the trip to France. But who knows what Gatland is thinking. But I thought McLeod had a superb game. Shenton was good. And like you said, the attack seems to have stalled over the last couple of weeks, but defence has definitely gone up a notch. So I'm hoping Dan Davis comes back in for Judgment Day. I didn't see what the injury update was on him, I'll be honest. I don't know if it's a serious injury. I thought it was quite an innocuous injury. Didn't think he was going to be out for a long time. Yeah. So he comes back in.
Yeah, because he walked off the pitch in that game. I can remember, it was at the park. I've seen him walk over to people doing the game as well. So it didn't look like there was anything really majorly done there, unless it was like a minor tear that's taken a little bit longer to heal than originally planned. But I haven't seen any time frame given to him or discussed about him, but I'm certainly in agreement with you. He is a massive miss. And Josh McLeod is, if I'm totally honest, I see Dan Davis as the only 7 in Wales right now, because everyone else to see the combination of 6 and 7, and even with McLeod he plays this. If you look at the traditional out and out poacher of a 7, Dan Davis is the only one that really fits that mold. Everyone else is destructive tacklers and carriers as well. That's what it was always a setup. Your 6 would tackle and carry to hell and back, and your 7 would just be an absolute nuisance in the ruck. And Dan Davis certainly is that nuisance, and he does it incredibly well. Even if it's only slowing down the ball by half a second, that half a second is absolutely massive in real life. But overall, I don't really think anyone had a poor game. I mean, I thought, Johan Nicholas was average by his own standards, and that was more or less it. I think everyone had a decent shift. I think Wyn Jones will be a little bit disappointed with some of the scrummaging penalties.
Yeah,
but I still don't think he's 100% fit. Even looking at him, just.
Talking about penalties, So as I say, I'm not a scrum expert. I was a scrum coach, but I'm not going to pretend that I'm a prop by any talk of imagination. So Wyn Jones had a penalty given against him, right, where he was still on his feet and was, he'd been pulled down, but the Glasgow prop had overreached and gone flat. Yeah, so he lost his balance. The Glasgow prop loses his balance. His feet were too far back, and he goes down. And Wyn Jones is still on his feet, but bent over. And the ref gives a penalty for Scarlett's collapse in the scrum. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going, just basic physics tells me that wasn't a Scarlett's. That's not the Scarlett's. What you could see, his feet had gone from under him, the Glasgow player, and he goes down. And there were a couple like that. And I think there were too many decisions. Definitely a guy trying to clothesline Hardy in the tackle. That was yellow, possibly red. We've seen them given as a red in the past. So to not even review it, not even look at it, was a bit confusing. And then Steph's kind of 50-22. Now, I'll be honest, my first reaction on that was that it was outside the 22. I thought, okay, it's outside the 22. It hasn't gone. Or you couldn't quite see from the camera angle, so you needed to, but that was my gut reaction. It was close, but it wasn't there. And then they give him the line out inside the 22.
The tackle on Hardy, though, that could have been really, really bad. I mean, if it was coming from the front, you can see it, you sort of mentally prepare for it. It comes from behind. It's always the ones that you don't hurt more. So, that would have been really disastrous for him. He could have really messed on that.
And I think the only bit that saved Hardy from a serious injury, and that was the fact that he was going down. So he kind of, as the arm comes round, he's already kind of riding that tackle downwards. So that was the only mitigation for it not being a red card, because he came in and he swiped. That arm was coming around and he swiped him. So yeah, it could have been a lot more nasty than what it was. You're right, and I think if that happens again in the semi-final, I think that's a red every single time. If that's a European Cup, that's a red, and I think that's the difference.
Yeah, it is. Now there was a couple, contentious decisions, and up until this point, I thought the ref had called the line out pretty much spot on. Every single time it went, wayward, he was calling, not straight, let's get a scrum, let's go. And then it comes deep in our 22, they throw in, and it's closer to their than ours, and he lets play continue and they scored the second try. So, that really knocked me off. I thought that he was doing a really good job with keeping those lineouts in check, but to let that go, and it was a really tight game anyway, and it was the match-winning try. So that really knocked me off it.
And then we go to Fafita's offside, and I still maintain that the ball comes out of the back of the ruck, and then the player in the ruck steps back over the ball. Yeah, if you look at it, it's weird because the ball doesn't come out of the back end of the ruck, but it comes out the side of the ruck. Yeah, so there is a player behind the player that the ball pops out from, and it comes out from the side. So if that was a scrum, it comes out from the 6 instead of the 8. Yeah, if you think of it that way. But the ball is still out. So regardless of where the back feet are, the ball is still out of control of the ruck. And then the player steps back over the ball. Now, I think Fafita chanced his arm, I'll be honest. But when he goes to run, yes, the ball is out, but then because the player steps over the ball, that's a penalty. That's dragging the ball back into the ruck. So that's a penalty. So for me, that should have been play on and away you go. But, what an athlete. What what a player. When you're outside half and you're inside centre, you're in the opposition 22 and the second row has picked the ball up and you've got 10 metres on the second row. And you're going, this is easy. And then Fafita leaves you for dead, runs 80 metres, and you're still 5 metres behind him. That's some player. That's a quick boy,
Regardless of whether he was offside or not, that deserved the try zone.
Oh, absolutely.
That was brilliant. And I very much of the same opinion of you. I thought the ball was out the side and there was a counter back or whatever, and the Glasgow player sort of shifted back. I thought it was out first, and then he ran for it. But what knocked me off again with this one, we only had one angle. We're not going to know 100 until we see those other angles, and we're not going to see those other angles. But you could tell he back it up in stands. He was not happy.
No, and he was done in when he got to the end as well. When he scored the try, he's like, "Oh my God, that was a stupid decision. I should have passed that to someone." Because 80 meters at full flack with like 70 odd minutes gone in the game is a heavy old game. Anyway, let's look ahead to Judgment Day, mate. Let's look ahead to this Saturday and see what we've got. So, how do you approach this if you're Dwayne Peel? There's nothing in this game at all. We cannot win the Welsh Shield. Even if Ospreys beat Cardiff by 8 points, but don't get a bonus point.
Yes.
It's still
it goes on wins. Yeah.
So we
even
can't.
If we all finish on 39.
But what I did see from somewhere, and I can't remember where I saw it, is next season the Welsh Shield will be decided on just games played in Wales. So it won't be, because obviously, we play different sides to Cardiff, to Ospreys and all that kind of stuff. So it'll just be out of us four. Who
the 6 home and away.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's true or I don't. Yeah, it does make more sense, to be honest. So you do get, this is the best Welsh side, but I don't know if that was somebody saying this is what's going to happen or somebody confirming this is what's going to happen, but that's what I saw. Anyway, Judgment Day. What's your thoughts?
I think we go about 90%. I think that, if we made all these changes for the Glasgow game, I think, there was only 4 boys that, stayed in, Fifita, McLeod, Steph Evans and Combia. I'd definitely be looking at McLeod and Fifita at least bench spot, if not a full day's rest. Steph Evans, Combia, we could realistically let them have a game off. Especially Steph Evans. I don't know how many games he's missed this year. I'm
not
trying
many,
to look back now. No, I think the last game he wasn't involved in was, I got to find him now. There he is. The last game he wasn't in the starting 15 for was Bayonne. And, I think he's been either on the bench or starting in every game, actually. I'm trying to... it looks that way.
Yeah, he's been there pretty much solid through the season, hasn't he? So
he's been involved in every single game.
So I would expect him last game of the season to still be involved. I just because he's that kind of player, isn't he?
Based on that.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope Dan Davis comes back in. I'd like to see Ken come back in just to get a bit of game time and things like that. But do you risk Costello? I wouldn't. I'd keep Costello out, and I'd go with Patch and Dan Jones. And I'd just keep him safe. I know he's going to want to play. He's going to want to be there because, for him, this is his last opportunity to show he's the best 10 in Wales for the World Cup. But, from a Scarlet's point of view, I'd want to keep him for Glasgow and wrap him up in cotton wool a little bit between now and then.
Nah, I'm the opposite. If you're using these two games to rest your whole squad, you just on the one-off. I want my boys playing the week before, if possible. Just I have if we get full strength against Glasgow and then we drop for the Dragons game, then fair enough. Because we dropped for the Glasgow game, I think we've got to get back to as close to 100% as we can. Just so we have sort of continuity there. Because, some of these boys, you got your forwards, like I said, Steph Evans, McLeod Fafita, and there's quite a few of those boys going to be involved on the bench for the Glasgow. We might have a style of play there. So I would be, other than those four, looking at maybe giving them either a bench or perhaps the game off. I would be looking at going as full strength as possible.
I think it's going to be interesting. It's a dead rubber, so it's more about the occasion and maybe an opportunity to say goodbye to a couple of players and things like that. But I know you're not a fan of Judgment Day, but I'll be there. I've been there for a couple of them in the past, just as a day out to celebrate rugby more than anything. But I don't know, it just doesn't feel. It's more of a game to just go and enjoy it, almost as if you're a neutral. Do you know what I mean? Because there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I'll be approaching the game anyway on Saturday. So yeah, okay. So that's Scarlet stuff done. Let's go down the depths and have a look and see what we've got in the local championship and the community game. So
we're going to do a prediction for the Dragons then, or are we just leaving that there?
Yeah, we can do. Go on then. Let's do prediction. What's your prediction for Dragons?
I'm going to go wild. I'm going to go 49-6.
See, I always get worried about Dragons on Judgment Day. And Dragons have always got one game in them a season that will really just, and everyone will go, oh, wow, why can't they play like that the rest of the season? And I got this horrible, horrible feeling about the game on the weekend that that's what's going to happen. And we're not going to go full pelt. We're going to protect a couple of players. They're going to come at it. There was a lot of bad feeling after the game at Christmas. With Callum Mafoney's red card, but I think that was a big turning point in our season with cards and what have you. So yeah, I think Dragons might win this. I do. I got a really bad feeling that Dragons are just gonna come out. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I think Dragons might nick this. 2019 or something stupid like that. So.
The next time I see you, remind me to smack you across the back of the head.
It is, but I said this a couple of weeks ago now, that your Dragons just see, they did it last season, they did it the season before, they've done it, 3 or 4 times where we get to the end of the season, we play Dragons near the end of the season, and they just seem to pull something out of the bag against us, and it's really irritating, but yeah, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but that's my prediction. There's a Dragons win 2019. You can shoot me next week. Anyway,
worry about that.
Let's move down to the championship quickly.
very quickly.
Very quickly. So, Narberth played Aston Villa last Saturday. Comfortable win, 43-8.
Mega win.
Yeah, and it leaves the mid-table. Aston Villa two off the bottom. So it was never going to be a tight game, but it does leave Narberth kind of mid-table, one place above Cross Keys that they're playing on this weekend. So they got Cross Keys this Saturday. 2 points ahead of Cross Keys, 2 points behind Cardiff Met, but 3 games in hand on Cardiff Met. So I can see them overtaking Cardiff Met. And this game against Cross Keys it's important. It's a big one. It's really, really important at this game.
Yeah, it is a big game, and I really think the way you're setting up right now in the championship is it going to be a massive fight for 4th place, and I think Narberth are very much in that mix. You've got Astrodron there. I don't think I know Cardiff Met are 5th at the minute, but I don't really think they've got it in them because the amount of games they've played. And then Narberth and Cross Keys, I think they're having a big battle for 4th because the top 3 seems to be done and dusted. And I think it's probably going to end up as it stands now, Pontypool and Neath Bargoed in that order. But 4th place is very much on the cards. There's 5 points between them and Astrad. I know there's a game in hand there, but this it's 5 points. It's not massive, and when you've still got 5 games left, that's very doable. Obviously, more than 5 games.
Well, when you look at the games that are
this would be a challenge for Narberth to try and get that 4th spot.
But when you look at the games that are left, Cross Keys play Neath twice, which is interesting. They play them on the 10th of May, then they play them on the 17th of May. So Cross Keys have got a really condensed end to the season. Narberth have got a pretty easy run-in with the exception of Pontypool away. So, it could work really well in Narberth's favour. And if they get anything out of that Pontypool game, then, they're doing really well. But definitely, Cardiff Met, Cross Keys play Cardiff Met as well. So, it's all working in Narberth's favour. Definitely, I'd say, looking at that run-in, Narberth are favourites for 4th, but they have to win this weekend to secure that. I'd say they're there if they win comfortably this weekend. They're in with a shot. Well, they've secured 5th, and then it'll be a case of pushing for 4th, and can they knock Astrad Ronda off 4th place? But because
Astrad Ronda, they have got a tough run in themselves. They play Bargoed, Neath and Pontypool in this last few games. So, the running, it's not easy, but it does seem to favour Narberth. So hopefully, Narberth will pick this up and, looking at the entire league, they are clearly the best side, championship in West Wales. And with the split coming next season, they're going to be title contenders. And, there may even be an opportunity for them to get into the Premiership if they can satisfy all the licenses. So this is really something they can look forward to.
Yeah, I think the ground is the issue. I said it a long time that they needed to move to there was an opportunity a while ago to move the ground, literally not even half a mile, not even a quarter of a mile outside, and there would have been, greenfield site and all of that. But it was money and this, that, and the other. So, but yeah, good running for Narberth, and we'll see how that goes from there. Right, so dropping down into League One West, fixtures start to get a bit confusing now because it's midweek games and then teams play 3 times a week and all of that kind of stuff. So let's just have a little look at results from the weekend then. So Aberystwyth beat Hendy 33-22. Crymych beat Whitland 41-0. Pembroke game was postponed. Well, at least they didn't lose. And then Newcastle Emlyn won 34-16 at Gowerton. So, where are we in the table now? I mean,
it's pretty much as we were. Crymych, Newcastle Emlyn level on points. Gowerton, they are third at the minute, but they've played a couple games more. No, they're not. They're on third. I've messed that up. Llangennech are third now.
Yeah.
I haven't swapped them round on my own tables. What am I like?
Crymych and Newcastle Emlyn both top on 69 points. Llangennech in third on 65, and then Gowerton in fourth on 56. I just think that's too far to go. I mean, the top of that table is looking tasty. We've said this a couple of times now. With that run-in, that's looking proper tasty, isn't it?
There are some massive games to come as well. Because Newcastle Emlyn, they've got Llangennech now this week, during the week. So that's going to be a massive game. Crymych have got Newcastle Emlyn and Llangennech. Newcastle Emlyn got Gowerton again away. So that's not going to be easy. And, Llangennech have got Gowerton as well. So, they've each got, 2 or 3 fixtures against, top 4 sides. So it's going to be really interesting how it comes down in the end.
Well, I've got Wednesday night fixtures. I got Crymych v Aberystwyth and Newcastle Emlyn, Llangennech and Whitland go signing. So, there's quite a few local sides already in the mix for the Wednesday game. And then Saturday we've got Crymych away in Llanelli Wanderers, Pembroke at home to Gowerton, Newcastle Emlyn away in Penclough, and then Whitland at home to Aberystwyth. So,
full on.
It's full on, and I don't even think we do predictions from there, mate. We just sit back, rub the hands, and go, "This is just gonna be fantastic." It's end of the season, end of the year in this is gonna be fantastic. Absolutely cracking.
I'm actually gutted I'm away this weekend now because I live close to Llanelli Wanderers. I would have nipped over for that game. That would have been. Crymych, they are really, really bouncing at the minute, and I mean, I'm just looking at this table, and look in my own table, I've got the maximum amount of points on the side. And Crymych and Newcastle Emlyn can max out at 99, and Llangennech can max out at 100. So this is going to come down to bonus points in the end. It is. It's just one of them things with sport, and you just gotta love it.
Yeah. So we're not going to make any predictions on One West. We're just going to sit back and enjoy it and go, right, let's see how this turns out over the next couple of weeks, because I think that's going to be fantastic. I really do.
It is.
Let's have a look at 2 West then, mate, because 2 West got quite exciting last weekend. So Fishguard lost to Buryport on that one. Milford beat Loughor 31-29. Again, another tight game, last minute sort of a thing. Just every game Milford have won this season has been in the last 5 minutes. So, but turning over Loughor is a good one, and then Tenby turned over Ponteberem away. So Tenby was 36-12, and I got to say, I got to give a shout out to old man Toby. Last time I was on the pod, so I missed last week, but the week before that I was at a wedding, wasn't And before that, I said
yeah.
about Toby Smith being wheeled onto the pitch on crutches and all that kind of stuff. So so I was at the wedding with Toby, and we had a chat, and he listened to the pod while we were at the wedding.
No.
You know, the bit after the ceremony and before the meal and all of that kind of stuff. So he was listening to the pod, and he said, "Old? You're calling me old?" So yes, Toby.
That is.
But he did well, and then he had 2 weeks where he had a try in 2 weeks. So fair play to him. He's I just hope he stays fit, because he's suffered a bit with injuries and what have you. But the last 2 weeks,
that's the age, isn't it?
Yeah, but Tenby have gone from fourth, fifth, where they're going to make it. 2 decent wins, 2 bonus point wins. They're now in second place. I think Pontarddulais are probably too far away. Pontarddulais got 2 games in hand over Tenby and are 10 points ahead. And then Nantgaredig in third have got 2 games in hand as well, and they're 5 points behind. So,
Yeah, but the way I look at it, I've got the fixtures. Tenby and Nantgaredig have got to play each other twice.
Yeah.
So this is another one. We're into this back end of the season, and there's so many top end games coming. Like, we've said about Kidwelly for a while. They've got to play Mumbles and Nantgaredig were both in the mix, and then Pontarddulais, they've got Nantgaredig as well. They've got they've really there's no easy games left now. And no. I really can't stress that enough. And, the one thing where we've said about Kidwelly and their possibilities, there's 5 weeks left. And literally they've got to play every single midweek.
Yeah.
If they're going to fulfill all their fixtures.
And they've got to play Milford twice, Kidwelly.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That might be an interest. And last game of the season, you Tenby, you've got last game of the season.
Oh, away.
Nantgaredig away. So, yeah, again, this is how you want the end of season to be. I know it's hard for players, but this is how you want it to be. So tonight, Pontarddulais play Carmarthen. Wednesday night, Mumbles play Kidwelly. So teams are starting to kind of eat up those games in hands. And then on Saturday, Kidwelly host Milford. Lucha host Fishguard. And Tenby host Nantgaredig. So
first big one.
Massive weekend for this. If Milford can help Tenby in any way, shape or form by knocking a few points out of Kidwelly, and
even if they stop a bonus point, that'll be a massive help.
Yeah, and Milford are really starting to find some form. End of the season, they're starting to find that form. So, yeah, I'm going to Milford win there. It'll be a shock, but I think Milford are going to beat Kidwelly on that one. What you reckon?
Yeah, I'm not backing that. as much as I'd love for it to happen, just in the grand scheme of things, with getting Tenby promotion, I just can't see Kidwelly drop him against Milford. I really can't. I wish I could, but I can't.
Okay. Fishguard and Lucha. Fishguard have had a bugger of an end. The second half of the season has been an absolute pain in the jacksie for Fishguard. But Lucha lost. They're not that far away. Fishguard 27 points, Lucha 29 points. So yeah.
You got to remember Fishguard have had points deducted as well. So realistically, they would be above Lucha if that hadn't happened. So I'm going to back Fishguard for this. Yeah,
me too. Because I still don't like Lucha from what they did to me at their pitch when I was a young lad. So, and then
it seems everyone I know, including myself, has got a bad story about Lucha.
Oh, they
Oh
are.
my
They're
God.
dirty players, dirty supporters. Yeah, when I played in Lucker, I got elbowed in the face, knocked out, and had my lip split by someone in the crowd.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So yeah, and that must have been 20 years ago, but
Well,
I still remember the elbow hitting my face. So yeah.
oh, nice. Well, it weren't even that long ago for me. It was 2 years ago. My boy was in the under sevens. The under eights were playing on the pitch next to us, and their under eight started a fight. And it was like, Jesus Christ, 8 years old, and they're scrapping. What is going on? Yes, tag rugby.
Yeah. So yeah, Fishguard can do us all a favour by turning over Lucker in that one.
At the bridge, nothing else.
Yeah. And then Tenby against Nankaredig. What's your call on that one?
This is season defining. This really is. It's got to be a Tenby win. Anything other than a Tenby win, and I think that is everything for the season. Then they either win this, and they keep on going for promotion, or they lose it, and there's no recovery. They're already at a disadvantage, with the number of games they've played. So they've really got to win every single game. Every game's a cup final. They've got to win, and realistically, they need to be picking up bonus points as well.
Yeah, but when you look at Nankaredig over the last couple of weeks, so they played Kidwelly, they beat Kidwelly by 3 points. They then beat Mumbles by 1 point, and then last week they lost to Carmarthen Athletic, whereas Tenby have really started to pick up the pace. And, they put 36-12 Ponteberem and 52-0 over Bury Port. And then, they lost to Carmarthen Athletic. But, they've been playing some good rugby the last couple of weeks. So I'm going for a Tenby win. It's at home. I think this will be a Tenby win. And I think I don't think they're going to win the league. I don't think they're going to top the table. But certainly they'll be in those top 3 promotion places. I can't see them losing those top 3 promotion places now, especially as they played Nankaredig twice, and this Nankaredig that they need to be worried about. So, I think they've got this.
I think of the 5 of them in there, it is Nankaredig and Mumbles. They need them to be dropping points, and the games are there for them to drop the points. It's just a case of, making sure Tenby get maximum as much as they can, because I think that's what it could come down to in the end. It could come down to the odd bonus point, especially where Mumbles are concerned.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at 3 West A then. So, see, I put the A there. 3 West.
I know, you finally remembered. How'd you?
Yeah, well done, me. So, again, getting congested at the end of the season with this. So Haverfordwest game against Tregaron last weekend was postponed. And then we've got Abereyron lost 25-21 against Lampeter. Langham had a good win, 25-19 at home against Llanybother. This shocked me a little. Neyland 0, Larn 31. So I was expecting a Larn win, but that's a massive to nil Neyland at home. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. That is. So fair play to Larn. That's a good one. Gutted by the next one. Quins 7, St David's 33.
Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. For the size of the town, the size of the club, the players that they've got there, that Quinn side should be near the top of the table, and they're not.
There are 2 sides, though, really, isn't there? It is 2 sides in the town, really.
Well, it's Pembroke and the Quins tend to not nick off each other. They tend to fight with kind of Neyland and Tenby, Narberth. A lot of the decent players will go to Tenby and Narberth, so stuff like that. But yeah, still should be better than that. And then final game of the season, St Clair's 33, Cardigan 7. So again, decent win for St Clair's, and pretty much as expected. Where does that leave us in the table?
Again, we're pretty much where we left off. Lampeter still top by a point. St Clair's literally just behind them. 64, 65 points. That is just so tight, and it's just unbelievable. And then you got Larne and Aberaeron just in behind, but they've played the extra game, so I think we can safely say that both Larne and Aberaeron are out of the running now for promotion, and it's a straight between Lampeter and St Clair's.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting in the mid-table because we've got a lot of Pembrokeshire sides in that mid-table that are just kind of fighting for things. Quins and Langham are kind of fighting each other out. We've got St David's and Neyland are kind of quite close. Neyland are quite close to Haverfordwest. So, yeah, it's a good end to the season in there. And, I think there's some interesting games coming up in the end of season run in there. Starting with tomorrow night, so the 19th, Quins against St Clair's down in Pembroke Dock, and Haverfordwest play Larne at home as well. So what's your calls on those?
I'm seeing 2 away wins. I really am. I wish I could say otherwise for Haverfordwest, but I can't. I think Larne are too strong, and we all know St Clair's are still undefeated in the league, and their focus is going to be on the double header with Lampeter coming in a few weeks' time. But I can't see them dropping any points other than maybe those games. So Dock wins. They're going to have another loss, sadly.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough one, isn't it? It can be a tough one.
I'd love for Haverfordwest to turn up and really put in a good performance and come close to Larne, right? I just can't see them nicking a win.
Yeah. Okay, so we move into Saturday then, and we've got Aberaeron against Neyland. So what's your call on that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go home side. I'm gonna go Aberaeron there. I just think they know this season is more or less curtailed now. But, there's still a lot of things on offer, a lot of pride and getting ready for next year with all these promotions going on. They're probably thinking, we built something decent by here now and we can look to move on next season. So I think I think every team that's not involved should be looking at what's coming into the future now into next season, definitely. So but I think Aberaeron are going to be too strong for Neyland. I know it was a tight match in the reverse fixture, 16-14 Aberaeron. But I think Aber are going to be a little bit too strong for them this time round.
Yeah, me too. I think particularly at home, I think that's a massive factor for Aberaeron. So I'm going for an Aberaeron win there, quite comfortable as well. I said to see Neyland not put anything on the scoreboard last weekend was a bit of a shock. I don't know if they're missing players or whatever, but I'm going for Aberaeron 25, Neyland 10, something like that. It'll be a comfortable win. Cardigan and Lampeter?
Yeah, nothing outside of Lampeter. I mean, it was 74-17 in favour of Lampeter early in the year. So you can't get away from that.
Yeah.
So I know there's going to be some bad feelings there in Cardigan, and they want to put things right. But I just don't see how they can do it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a big win for Lampeter. And the Quins week continues with a game away in Larne.
It doesn't get easier, does it?
No. And again, I can't see the Quins coming away with anything from that game at all.
Nah, ditto. I'm the same. Larne are going to win that one quite comfortably, I'd imagine, too.
Yeah. So then the next game, this is going to throw you into a massive quandary. This is just sending you full on to spin cycle. This is Langham against Haverfordwest.
Oh. You know what? I love Langham. Like we said, never been there. Don't even know anyone from there. But just who they are and the tiny village that they are. Haverfordwest can afford a loss. Let's go Langham. Come on, let's find another place in the table. They can finish ninth at best. So let's finish ninth. Come on.
This is traditional. So the first round of this game was played on Boxing Day, and it's traditionally the punch up, and then traditionally again the second round of this game is usually played over Easter. And it's another punch up, and all the boys that get injured at Christmas come back in time for another punch up at Easter. But yeah, I can see Haverfordwest nicking this one, mate. I can. I think Langham have had their boost from last week. I think they've had they won good game, but I can see Haverfordwest nicking this one, and at least 4 yellow cards. I think that's a key factor in this game this weekend is 4 yellow cards, at least, minimum. So, plan about at home to St. Clair's?
Yeah, again, St. Clair's.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to say. They are who they are. And they are, they're running away with it so far. It's just that 1 versus 2 back-to-back games with Lampeter. That's the only things that are going to have any sort of influence on this league. And until we get there, it's just going to be St. Clair's win, Lampeter win, St. Clair's win, Lampeter win.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That should be comfortable. And last game in the league for this weekend, then St. David's at home to Tregaron.
Let's hope for a couple wins on the bounce for St. David's. They should do it. They won away at Tregaron earlier in the season. So as long as this game isn't postponed for whatever reason, let's hope for back-to-back victories. Yeah,
I agree with that. I'm going for St. David's win there. And then, just in case we don't get to it next week, because I don't know what day we're going to record next week, Langham at home to Neyland on Tuesday, I think that is, and then Haverfordwest away to Larne on Wednesday. And that's the way the end of the season is going to be now. There's going to be lots of midweek games with people catching up. And yeah, it's going to get confusing. It's almost like nobody's playing on a weekend. There's games all through the week, but so those are 2 games for next week anyway. Just in case we don't get to cover them. So
I'm sure we will.
Yeah. So,
but then I'll vote for Langham over Neyland as I've got. And I think Larne will take Haverfordwest for what it's worth.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on both of those, mate. But hopefully we'll be able to look at them in a bit more depth next week. But if not, those 2 are games for next week. So while we've been recording today, Twitter's given me a little bit of a notification. Scarlett have just signed Yohan Lloyd, which was rumoured couple of weeks ago, wasn't it, that this was happening? So yeah, that's an interesting. He's only 22. That throws kind of Costello and fullback. I think that's cover for fullback with Halfpenny more than anything. But we have got decent colour, so that throws an interesting mix into the you know what I'm saying. That's it's an interesting signing. I don't know what position where you play him. If you play him outside Costello, is that what you do with Johnny? If you play him at 13, is he going to? Is he there as a cover for Costello because Patches go into Cardiff? Oh man, too many questions, mate. Too many questions.
I'm liking this. I'm really, really liking this. The boy's got some pace on him. I know he's close to 100 appearances for Bristol. At 22 years old, that's none too shabby. We've known that the Scarlets have been looking for a 10-15, especially a Welsh qualified one, and Ioan Lloyd, obviously, he fits that category massively. I don't think we're going to not drop, but put too many eggs in the number 10 basket for Ioan Lloyd. I think he's going to be here as a 15 and then bench cover if needed. But obviously, development then, it tends to go as it is. So, to have two players who are both internationally capped at fly half, at 20, 22 years old, however old the pair of them are, it can only bode well. And, I'm very happy with that. It's just a case of now finding out who we are retaining and who's going to really work out, who's going to be here, who's going to be where. Because I think if for whatever reason, Dinky and Patchell do go, it's going to be a case of Ioan Lloyd's definitely a 10.
Yeah.
So it is going to be interesting over the next few weeks to find out who is coming, who is going.
But then I think for players like Scott Williams and Foxy, that we know injury-ravaged end of career, does bringing in someone like Ioan Lloyd kind of throw their 1-year deals into a bit of a quandary? Oh man, Ioan Lloyd hasn't had a great season because he hasn't been playing for the Bears for a lot of this season. He's been down with Hartbury for a lot of this season, but he's undoubtedly got a bit of talent, and he's got the pace, he's got the hands. It's whether or not we can develop that, give him the kind of game that he needs to show what he can do. But maybe we'll talk about that next week's season. Maybe we'll talk about that next week, mate, in a bit more detail, where I have no doubt there will be a lot more signings, re-signings, and announcements about players leaving, particularly after this weekend, players leaving from there.
Well, I tell you what we'll do. After the semi-final, obviously we'll review the game, but we'll have a little rundown of the squad as we know it. Because 2 weeks' time, we should have a bit more, at least I'd hope, we'd have a bit more of a clearer picture of who we've got and what we can look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that note, my friend, we are done for this week. Oh no, we're not. So we
do you want me to take over for this one?
Go on, you say what we've got on this one.
Okay. We are coming in now. Again, at the start of the month, we had the start of the road to the Principality finals, and we've got another load of fixtures coming in now. Some seniors competition. We got the Division 1 Cup final between Newbridge and Nant Conwy. We have the Championship final between Ystrad Rhondda and Pontypool, and the Premiership final between Newport and Cardiff. That is all on Sunday, the 23rd of April. So, if you fancy watching some top quality community rugby, then I suggest you get down there for that. Judgment Day on the 22nd, Finals Day on the 23rd. Perfect weekend. Can't ask for more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we have to say it now, just because it's going to be next Wednesday, the 26th of April. It's the school finals days, and there were 3 semi-finals played last night. We had the Dewar Shield semi-final, Cardiff against Swansea. Cardiff reigning champions, lost 27-21. So the Dewar Shield final is Pontypridd schools against Swansea schools.
Mm-hmm.
Into the Morgan Griffiths Plate, we had both semi-finals last night. We had Swansea Valley beating Merthyr 27-12, and Carmarthen schools beating Cunnan Valley 17-3. So another Scarlets regional team in the finals is Carmarthen against Swansea Valley. And what I'm liking about this game is that they met in the group stages a couple months ago, and the game finished 20 points to 19 in Swansea's favour. So it was just a 1-point game in there. So we know this final is going to be tasty. And we already know the Lewis Miller Bowl final is Pembrokeshire up against Isloin. So that's the 26th of April, a week Wednesday. So, if you can get down there, I'm not sure the ticket prices, but from what I've seen so far, is a lot of them have been free entry on the day. So fingers crossed that's the same. And, get on a bus, get down there. Nothing like a Wednesday watching some Dewar Shield rugby.
Yeah, and best wishes to the boys. It's been a really tough season, but the boys have fought really hard to get where they've got to. So, all the best for everyone involved in that. And I was hoping to find some time to go down to a training session and have a chat to a couple of boys. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but thoughts are with you guys. And I know quite a few parents listen. I know quite a few players listen. So all the very best to you. Give it some welly next week, boys. And hopefully we'll be able to catch up with you after the final and celebrate your win with you, because that's what we do.
Yeah, we want some photos of that trophy. Come on, bring it home.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right, are we done now?
I think that's it, mate.
That was the last bit. Right. Okie dokie. We've got a busy end to the season coming up, mate. Busy end to the season. I'm loving this. And one thing came up on Facebook yesterday. So the Glasgow semi-final game is when? What time is it? It's not this weekend.
5:30.
On week after this, isn't it?
The 29th.
Yeah.
29th, yeah.
29th. So a couple of people have been asking, can we get a bus from Pembrokeshire? So I put a post out on the Facebook page to say, look, if we get enough interest, we'll book the bus. We've got like 12, 15 people so far. So if you fancy it, if you fancy going, you have to sort your own tickets and what have you. We haven't done a bus for a while because it was an absolute nightmare to organise. But if you fancy it, reply to it. I'll find a bus, I'll book it. We'll get there and we'll do it.
Yeah, and if you haven't already got tickets, go on the Glasgow site for tickets, because they've still got a good allocation in the north and south and the west.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the less of them we get there, the better. Right.
Where's the pickup from for this bus? Where are we planning on doing it from if it does go ahead?
Don't know yet. Last time we did Pembroke Dock, Pembroke, Tenby, Kilgetty, and then there was another bus went Fishguard, Haverfordwest, and whatchamacallit? The place out by Narberth, the roundabout that they're redeveloping. I'll sort it this week. If we get enough people, we'll sort it and we'll get a good bunch of us up there. We'll do it that way.
Let's do it.
Okay. Now we're done. Now we're definitely done.
Now we're done.
Right, quick.
No new signings or retentions in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, we're done. Right. Mate, brilliant. I'll speak to you next week. All the best, Matt.
Awesome stuff. See you again, mate.
See you, mate. Ta-da. Bye.
Ta-da.
You have been listening to the Westerer is Besterer podcast from the Scarlet Supporters Pems team. You can follow us on Twitter on Scarlet Pems, find us on Facebook with Scarlet Supporters Pembrokeshire, or email us on scarletspems@gmail.com. And remember, West is best, but Westerer is Besterer. Cheers.
Sports Social Podcast Network.